Hey guys, my name is Matt. I'm from Salon Pompeii in Mission Viejo, California, and today I'm going to be going over how we do a wolf cut. So first things first, let's start off by talking about what a wolf cut isn't. It's not a shag, it's not a mullet, it's not a pixie cut, it's not a bob, it's not any of that. Essentially what it is it's a combination of a shag and a mullet. It's literally it. However much variation you go between shag and mullet, that depends on client preference, your opinion on what's going to be suitable for them, their face, and their comfort level with going short, long, whatever. Like I said before, it's not fully shag, it's not fully mullet. It has aspects of both. What differentiates it from both shag and mullet is mainly throughout here, right? So when you think of a mullet, you think it can be crazy. You can have short bang, you can have a long bang, you can have crazy long sideburns, you can have shaved up here, whatever. That's not really the style here. Mainly what we're going to be focusing on when we differentiate between like a shag, because the shag has a really open face, right? It really opens this up. Whereas a wolf cut, it's more going into the face. It's creating that angle and that outline of what is most suitable for the client. And that can vary between cheekbones, forehead length, nose length, whatever. Again, it's not a mullet, it's not a shag. It's a combination of both. So cool. Let's get into it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the angle that we need to start with, because this is really, really, really important, right? So the first thing we're going to do to just make this a little bit easier is we're just going to make it so that way you can see. But when we start out, remember from beauty school, with angles, the lower, the harsher the line, the higher, the softer the line, right? Depending on client preference, that's going to be where you start, where your guide is. I like to start in the back. I've seen people start them on the sides. I've seen people start them like at the bangs, what have you. I like to start at the back. It's just how I was trained. So when we go through, we don't want it to be a layer. We don't want it to be a graduation to an extent. So I like to think of it between 50 degrees, 60 degrees, 70 degrees, or I guess this would be 90, so let's go a little bit down to 70. I personally like to stick to 60. It's just a little bit closer. We're going to put you back up. And then now we can start. So, like we learned in school, cutting past the second knuckle doesn't get us the result. The reason why we don't do that is because when you cut past here, this is all clumped, right? So it's going to create this. It's going to create this kind of shape instead of this kind of shape. So first things first, we're going to just separate out. And then we're going to check our angle. That looks good. And then for the purposes of this, you would normally be standing here doing this. Just to demonstrate, I'm just going to be showing back here. So what we're going to do is go do that, maintaining the same angle. And remember what we learned in beauty school, move your fingers. Don't cut past the second knuckle. So anyway, we're going to be going and doing that. Now, you have this going, right? It's going to curve in. On a real client, the shoulders would be here, right? Which is what we want. We want it to flip out. That's essentially our shape that you see in most Korean-style wolf cuts and Japanese-style wolf cuts is in the crown. It's accentuated. And then down here, it comes out into the S. Back to our perimeter. We are maintaining that 60. And then now I'm going to start getting the front. And I'm just going to go through, make sure that I'm pulling, that I have the correct tension throughout. And the reason why I'm standing here instead of just trying to do everything from standing behind is because when you do that, you're creating a triangular line. Because you're over directing, right, back from here. If I were to stand here and I cut everything here, when it falls, it's going to create an angle. So we come through. Now that those are done, We come through, make sure we're all at the same angle, and then we come back again, and we just do that. Now we come through, do the same thing. We have this, we have that done. Cool. So now I have crazy sections. I promise it doesn't look that crazy when I break it down. So anyway, we're gonna come through here, right? Come out. And now we're just gonna repeat that process, right? The reason why we're not tilting our client's head down is because we're not trying to create a one length, right? We're not using 0 degrees of elevation. We're using a lot of tension. We go through, again, we're going to do this. We're just going to do this just so I can grab it. We are now going to pull, we're going to find our line, which I believe is back there. And then if that happens, you know you've taken too much. So literally, just go through, section it out. There's no shame in it at all. But now you can see we have our line. We can see it. It's visible. I'm driving that point home because I see a lot of people, what they do is they go, they do it, they flip it up, and then, oh no, I've cut too much off. We're just gonna make sure we can correct our body position. But when people do that, you've just now lost more than what the client wants. And I have a few particular clients who know when I've taken off a little bit too much. They absolutely know when I've taken off a little bit too much. And now what I'm doing here, I'm lowering, I'm making sure I'm keeping it in the forefront of my mind to not go past that elevation. But we're going to look up. Okay, that's fine. We're going to move over a little bit. We're going to go. Now, we're just going to do this. We're going to do that. But you can see now that instead of creating that angle, we have it now. I can pull it. It looks visibly the same, which is what we want, right? Everything is following exactly the same point, but what we've done by moving the body position, instead of just cutting everything here, we created a square line. Now actually what we're going to do is we're going to, instead of trying to push everything, pull everything, towards us, we're just going to take it step by step, section by section. And again, there's no shame in doing this slow. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check, make sure that everything is equal, it's balanced. I see a little bit down here, and I can just come through and take that off. Okay. We have our guide. We have our baseline. Now what we're going to do, turn her. Now that we have this section in half, we can drop the next one. And we can just do the same thing. That's all that it takes. It's just going slow. That's the whole theme of this haircut, is just going slow. Because when you go slow, you're more likely to catch any mistakes that you have. See what I did just there? I repositioned myself. I was doing this. I need to be doing this. I can take this off just a little bit more. Same thing. We take it, we turn it, we go down, we elevate, and we go through. And again, I check and make sure, because I'd rather check twice and cut once than cut like 8,000 times. So go through, again, correct, we go. Do that again, do the same thing on the other side. I can do this as many times as I want, obviously, but for salon reality, you'd probably be doing this in 3 as well, especially because of the culture of the people that want it A lot of people from Asia want this haircut. A lot of people from the US, white, Hispanic, whatever, they also want it. But a lot of the time, when people from Asia want this haircut, their hair is just by nature more dense and it's more coarse. So you want to be careful so as to not mess up, because on Asian hair and just in thick, coarse hair in general, you make one mistake that's completely visible. I've done it. We've all done it. We've all made mistakes. But anyway, what I've done is I've just dropped this. Now, this is where we start to get into knowledge and theory territory, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt her, and then I can just position her that way. And now, the reason why I have it going down is because I want this to curve throughout, right through here, because the whole point is to close off this face and create our own silhouette. We're not trying to open the face up a lot. We are just trying to create the silhouette and match what we want. If we were to open up the face, that gets into more mullet or shag territory. But this isn't that. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to keep my thumb right here so I can have a good anchor. That's something else I learned the hard way. You really want to have a good anchor. So what you do, I put my finger right here, I have my comb, my hand naturally wants to connect together. So now it's easier, as opposed to, you know, going like this, tracing your thumb through and just praying that you can separate it if your nail's long enough. I don't personally like to do that. That's your thing. Go for it. But that's just not me. And then from there, now we can start to create our little bubble. The whole point of this haircut is to create this S shape, right? Whether that's done through styling or through cutting, it just depends on the length that the client wants. But we're gonna section, putting our thumb here, and I'll show you the sectioning in a sec. Right after I get this there, that's there, cool. We have it done because, again, I want to follow this, and I'll get into that in a sec. But your cutting needs to be parallel to your section, right? This is what's going to create that to go in, because we want to keep this triangular at this point, because we want to keep this pushing right here. We're going to go towards the middle. We're going to take a little bit of our guide, and then what I want to do, so if the hair is at 90, right? Because 0 is here, 90 is here, I'm trying to create a graduation. So what I'm going to do, I actually don't like how much I take. So what I'm going to do is do that and just wrap it around. Again, no shame. And now I'm going to take my guide that we just created from down under. It's right there. And I am just going to go in and do the same thing that I was doing. There we go. Do that. Let's just create our little guide. Now, I'm going to take this. See how this is right here? I don't really want that, do I? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that guide that we just made and just go in, you know, just go in. Again, no shame in doing that. Just remember, when you do this, to not elevate it more, you want it coming out. Cool. Now we've just created this guy right here. When we get further up, we'll get into a lot more, but what this is going to do, now this is starting to come out because there's not anything here. It's not all sitting at one length, right? So now what we're going to do, I'm going to use this as a traveling guide, and we're going to take our dudes, drop what we don't need. And then there we are. Right there. And then we're just gonna again double check to make sure our elevation is correct. Because again, we're making this triangular here, right? So we're bringing back the corner right here. We have our guide. And I think I want to go through and do it this way. We're just making sure. And then we need to, because I have a lot of leniency in this, we can just do that. Now, when we go to style, we'll be doing this. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to make this our traveling guide. So we're going to take one of the great YouTube hair men, Matt Beck, 75% old hair, 25% new hair. So what we're going to do after that, make sure that our elevation and over direction are correct. I said earlier that we need to keep our sections parallel, which is keep our scissor angle parallel, and I think I've done an okay job at that. And then we're going to just, again, section it off. That's good. So we're going to take our guy right here. We're going to move this right over there. Use our finger to come through. Elevate. And then, perfect. Okay, cool. So now, I'm just going to do that. You don't want to lose your guide in a haircut like this because that's not particularly fantastic. I would know. And then we're just going to do this. And remember to be intentional with where you grab your fingers. It took me a really, really long time to understand where to go with that because I would just all over. It actually wasn't until Cole Thompson told me, he was like, hey, don't do that. And I was like, okay. But yeah, so we're gonna do that. Move it away. You don't need it anymore. Take our 25 or 75, we'll get a little bit more. Just make our way towards it. And there's just little bits. So we'll drop that. And then go through. Now, drop this again. Don't need it. We're going to section this out a little bit more just because it's a little bit too thick for me, for my liking. We're going to make sure that everything is ship shape. And then, you see that? You see how I just cut past my second knuckle? Look what that did. Just created that upward angle. So, check it. I'm going to take a little bit more. Not pick up from the other section. Oh, take that, pick it, do it. Go through. And just keep doing that little bit. Now, at the end of our road, we can bring this back a little bit. And so you can start to see it just start to flip out just a little bit. Because again, there's nothing here that's holding it down. Not at 0 degrees. This will get pronounced more with styling as well. If she had shoulders, this would be doing this right now, which is what we want. But now, we'll do the same thing on the other side. We don't really need to show that, but I'll just go through it again. This time I'll go a little bit faster. We'll go through, the style head dries like nobody's business. But what we're going to do is we're just going to take this section, take 25, And then on this side, it's a little bit easier because remember, boys and girls, the hair wants to be pulled towards you. Always, always, always wants to come towards you. So if you can help it, that's where body position comes in, right? So what we're gonna do after that is just do the same thing. Repeat that. Use our traveling guide. We took a little bit too much guide, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop that. We're gonna take our own advice. We're gonna section this away. Drop that. And so now we can reposition, go through. My guide's right there. Make sure that we have our over direction correct. Go through. Well, that. It's gonna look a little triangular at the beginning, but I promise it'll work. Like I said, it's a madness. In this case, I would honestly just put it to something up top. Obviously, I can do that because this is a doll head, but actual client, I would just tie it into a knot. Touching on something really fast as well, if the client wanted, we could absolutely do this all point cutting. If she wants it softer or he wants it softer, you can absolutely do point cutting. Most of the time, from what I've seen, it's really choppy. That's what people seem to be after. However, the textured look is always a favorite of mine, but for this demonstration, just so we can see the layering, the graduation, and the texture, we're just going to be doing choppy. So again, come out, way past my second knuckle, so we reposition, check, and then we go through. And then we go again. Went a little bit past our guide. We don't want that, so we're going to stop there using tension to come through and do that. And then tied this up a little bit right back here. So what we're going to do, we have a little bit too much, new section, we have a little bit too much guide. So we'll just flip it up. We will go through. So now we have our section, we have our guide, and check our angle. We're coming out. We can just do that. And now we have this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful little curve coming through. But we're not out of the woods yet, right? Because we still have this guy that we just dropped. So what we're going to do from you, now I'm going to get into positioning the head. Remember, you don't want it to position. We didn't position the head before because essentially we were trying to create a graduation. But now we're going to be going up. The reason why I'm doing this is because you'll see in a sec. Because this is going to prove to be foundations of our little bobble. You can already see how that's going and sticking up right there, right? So now we do the same thing. We have a little bit too much guide, so we just drop, we come up, we find our guide, we check our section angle, we check our scissors, we have enough. We go through. You can see we can already, just with a little bit of shaping, we can see this already starting to form that S. You can see that right there, already starting to form a little bit of that S. We'll get into why we want that in a second. We just do a little bit more. We have too much guide. So now what we're gonna do is just gonna we're gonna section off. We're going to take our 75 and our 25. Now we're gonna elevate until the hair becomes straight. Now you'll already be able to see this coming out right here. So even if we just do a little bit of shaping right there, boom. So now that we have our little, I'm going to call it an air bubble, right? Because this is going to push everything up. We're going to drop this guy, position our head, drop this guy down. Oh man, that's a lot. So what we're going to do, same thing that I've been telling you guys throughout this entire time. There's no shame in having too much and in breaking it down. So now is going to be where it gets really, really, really cool. But first, what we're going to do, take you, put you away. This can fall because, again, she's not real. So sorry. Take you, put you away. And now we have this. Now we can take our guy. Again, we have too much, so we just put it away. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lift it. If this is 90, I'll call this 120, where we're almost dropping out. Yeah, I'll call this like 120. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to flip over. Try to get that finer tooth comb. We'll go right there. Go. And we'll match it, remember, where you cut it before. Hair needs to be straight, right? Unclip you. Take you a little bit. We're not going to try to force it. We just take and we push away. Keep that traveling. We have a little bit too much right there. That line isn't clean, so we're going to clean it up. That's a little bit too much from right there. And that's a little bit too much from right there. There is no shame when doing a good haircut. So, like I was saying, we're going to match it until, yeah, we'll go like right there. That looks matched. Do that. Take our guy, get it flipped away. Now we will lift, take you, we take you, we go through. Now we have our guy. Go through. Let's check our elevation. Go through. And then with these guys that we have up top, we're going to do literally the same thing, but we're just going to take, clip, use our thing, do this, clip you out of the way. And then we're going to take our, use that same technique. Switch you down the middle. Take just a little bit from you. Break you up. And then, there we go. Go. Do the same thing again. We clean, almost. There we go. And we're going to elevate that just a wee bit more. The reason why we're using disconnection right now is mainly because we can just pinch that a little bit. We already have this, right? So we're going to cross-check our guy, tighten up our head. We're going to cross-check, not clean. Now we're going to stand, because remember, because we did this way, we're going to cross-check this way, right? We can see a little bit that we did. We'll drop that. And just the same thing, we're going to be traveling. This doesn't need a lot of hair because there isn't really a lot of hair, but we have our guide. Checking, checking, checking. Good. little bit of a check. Good, good, good. Okay, so now we can finally get to the fun part. You're literally going to section out this right here. I'll try and show you. I'm going to section out this right there, down. And then just do this. We'll take our middle section, push you over there, take you, take our middle section, put you over there. The cool part about this, right, is we're going to now, yeah, there we go. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure we're clean, push you. Now we're pulling out at, what would you call that, 90? Yeah, I call that 90. Now, drop you, take our traveling, cut it, go back out. I'm gonna check it one more time just so we can be there. Perfect. Break it out just a little bit. We'll make sure that that's there. Cool. Do the same thing again on this side. Just nip that a little bit. Go. Pull. Break it down. Take out 25. Get 25. Check our fingers. Check our angle. We'll go. And the cool part about this, guys, you can see there's like some little splices, some little dudes. Again, no shame in doing that. But now that we have it, it'll bobble right here. This goes into the basis of this, right? So now we can see it's gonna go there. We'll get more into that when we start going into the sides and texturizing. But for now, we're just building the basic shape. And we're gonna drop, just push you back. Cool part about this, there's not really a lot of thought that needs to go into it. You can always take it, you can break it up. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna move on to the sides. And we have our guide right here, and we'll just go. Yeah, there we go. See, it's already starting to come out. The reason why we're doing point cutting is because remember, we cut that perimeter. Drop this. I like to do things in tandem, meaning I do one side, then the other, one side, then the other, one side, then the other. It just helps me remember what I'm doing. We weren't really clean, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this, make it just a little bit cleaner, tidy up. That's about probably as clean as we're going to get. We're going to take our guy, section it off, make sure that we're not doing weird stuff. Take our bigger clip, take that, make sure our body position is right, make sure everything is combed out. And we're just going till we see our guide, our shortest point. And we're going to pull with max tension because we want max diffusion. We don't want super, super harsh lines. Drop the same thing. We can go back to the other side or we can continue on with this. I want to go back to the other side personally just because I think it's fun. If you're going to do this disconnected using point cutting, just remember that it's disconnected connection, right? We don't really need that to be super, super, super duper clean as it goes just because it's not our focus. After that, I think our guy, we'll cross check. There's a little dude that we got to do right here. Just one long guy. We'll start. Now the sides are done. Now we can move on, I think. So we have the side perimeters done, or at least the corners done. So now what we got to do, we wet this down a little bit. And we come out of the way. And then now what we do, we just take a little bit, you, and pin you out of the way. Same thing on the other side. And you out of the way with a bigger clip. Underneath here, this all is good. So now we're just gonna basically go through down here. We don't need any of this, so this is gonna go away. But now, oh no, we run into a problem. There's too much weight right here. Looks real bad. Looks really like a triangular graduation, one of the really bad ones that you see. So what do we do to fix that? Okay, well, my friend, amigo, I will tell you. You see all of that right there? That's what we do. So now what we need to do, if we wanted to go shorter, we totally can. But for now, we're making this a little bit more of a medium length. Follow our guide that we just set. Make sure the top is clean. Put you away. Now we just follow our guide. That's simple as. Now we should. Yeah, there we go. The reason I'm doing point cutting right now is because I want this top to be a little bit more blended than what we have going on underneath, right? But you can see now we got a little bit more of that diffusion, that blend going in. Everyone should be familiar with Josh DeMarco. He always says clean sections, clean results, right? But I even do this still sometimes, is I don't have a clean guide for my layers, and sometimes they used to be off, they used to be rounded in some areas, they used to be not rounded in some areas, they used to be all kinds of stuff. There we go. Cool. So now what we're gonna do, cross check again, break it down, go the opposite way of what we were doing. So now we can check again. Move on from the wrong area again. So now we can cross check again. Still have to do a little bit more. There we are. That's all of our stuff. Do the same thing again. Now we literally just go. There we are. We can see that we're getting that twist, that bend in the hair, right? So now we start to do fun stuff. First and foremost, do what we did before, right? When we took that up at 90 from 0, 0 here, 90 here, because we don't need a lot of this. We just need the corner, section off everything. And what I like to do as well is use sections in multiple states, meaning I do something like this, I section what I need to get over here, I just break it up into two. That's all that needs to be done. Just check our body position, check our finger angle, check our elevation, and we go. Now we have our guide. Again, check, check, check. We can just go. Yeah, dude, there it is. Cool. So now we're getting into that thing like I said before, remember, where it's almost melody, but not quite. We'll get into this in a sec. We're going to do the other side. Okay. Just do that. And now, there we go. Okay. So now that we have all of this, what do we do here? First things first. Secondly, this all needs to fall and be layered, right? Now we're going to do some round layering. So what we're going to be doing from here is we're going to be starting at the fringe, right? And we can really take this kind of as thick as we want, as long as we make sure that we're still doing this, right? There we go. It's perfect. Now we're just going to take sections following. Make sure we're clean, we're tidy, good. And then this is the part where it becomes a stationary guide. Because we're going from short to long. What does that make? Round. Just like a round graduation, just like a fade, just like mullet, short to long. We can just keep doing this all throughout. The reason why I'm doing my elbow tucked is because I want a pivot point. I want a solid pivot point from where I can go. It's an anchor. And an archery, for any kind of bow, you need an anchor point, right? Typically, oh, that looks so cool. Oh, that looks so good. Typically for an anchor, it's behind the ear. If you've ever shot a bow, you'll know what I'm talking about. But for those of you that don't, you go to shoot the bow. When you pull back, you anchor, you sight in, and then you release. Now, check that out. Now, many of you would probably be asking, how do we go about creating? That's simple. You just take a little bit from the front, make sure we're tidy. Go. There's our guide. And then all I need to do is just one, all that. We have our little dude right there. We gotta make sure that our angle is good. And the last smaller dudes will drop. That's that way we can get you. So now we have all this, guys. We finally get to the fun part, which is the fringe. So we're going to take you back. Take you back. Just undo all of you. Now for this, a tip that I learned to create a really, really wispy fringe is not to just go through and texturize it while it's all there. What you're going to want to do is take a little bit of the front out and then make it a little wisp. And of course we're not going to be that tidy, but we can't really help it because there's a big hole right there. But what we can do is that. And now we're going to just put out what we don't need. I want to go probably like right around right there. It's fine. Because we can direct our fingers. It's already starting to curl in. But now what we'll do is I want to make this a little bit of an arc, right? So we'll just come down. This is the other side. And when I do this, I'm taking it, facing. As I get my scissors in there, I'm just at the same speed moving that. Of course. Good. So now I get to start doing some texture stuff. And then I can just grab it, splay it, do all of that. We can come through. This is basically dry. I can just do a little bit of that. And now that we have this almost shield, cover, what have you, if the length and density allows, you might actually be able to get away just going behind, just point cutting it out. But because of this, because of length and density, I don't have that luxury. But we can see our little guide. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to debulk really fast. And this isn't the finished product. This isn't the finished fringe. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't need all of this down. But now, I can just simply go through. Debulk, debulk, debulk. We'll obviously get into styling and everything later, but for now. Just go. Not hit the lip of your model. But this. And then we'll come back and do some texture stuff, do some more styling stuff when it's dry. Alrighty. So, she's dry. She looks kind of gnarly. That's okay. You know why? Because we're gonna do some texture, do some thinning, because her hair is real thick. So look, first we're gonna take a behind the ear parting, whatever you want to call it, apex to mastoid, for you Paul Mitchell peeps out there, whatever. Take that away. Her fringe, we're going to take care of that in a sec. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. I think personally what we're going to do is we're going to do something kind of out there, right? So we're going to start from the parietal ridge. We're going to take about this much hair. What is this? That's about 1.5 inches. We're going to elevate all the way over, or over direct all the way over. And then we're just going to go for it. What this is going to do is it's going to soften everything right here, but it's going to maintain us a lot of length, which is what we want, right? Because when we go to style it, we need a lot of length. But now, when we go back, there's only about this much, right? So we can still see the outline of it. So we're going to take that, do that already. That's a little bit better. And then we do a little cross check, and no one is perfect. We have it. Awesome. So now we can start to get to build a little bit out of this shape. We can fix that fringe. We can go. And with the doll head as well was not fantastic. So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to take a little bit. I'm going to go, yeah, about like end of the eyebrow. That looks perfect. We're going to put that away. Go towards. That's a little bit too far, but we'll get close. There we go. We're not getting rid of the texture. We're simply just refining our line. So what we're going to be doing is taking this, putting you away, taking this, putting you away. But at least for this, we're going to be creating kind of a curtain fringe. So we already have our texture down. But now it's time to actually get into the meat. See that she needs to go and have this taken down just a little bit. So we're going to check. Yeah. So now we can drop. If we wanted to, we could do a little bit more back here, but I think that personally, when we start to go get into styling, this is going to be perfectly enough to start doing like a mushroom or bevel or whatever you want to call it. So what we're going to be doing from here is doing another behind the ear. And then we're going to be doing this. These are big boy clip. Start by taking one section across the crown. across the back of the head, crown, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's it. This crown. And remember, go back here. Honestly, we're just going to be taking this, just making C's, right? That's what I like to tell people to do. So we're going to take this, just literally going to keep doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? So we're going to keep adding. Get rid of some lines that we see. And I swear that there is a method to the madness, like I've been saying. But for this, you can take realistically not typically as big of a section as you want because there's going to be some parameters, but just keep doing that. This dropped, so fix that a little bit. And now we take this, put it up a little bit. Last clip. And then depending, because we do this a little bit softer, the layers aren't as visible and graduation isn't as visible. But if you were to do this real choppy, you can see everything. And if that's your style, that's your style. Personally, it's not really my style, but it is the way you want to do hair, my friend. So what we're gonna do after that, move this over. We're going to this. Perfect. Awesome. Awesome, cool, amazing. That's gonna get you that swoop. Here comes the fun part. We're gonna be doing the same. We're gonna still be making C's. They're gonna be in the opposite direction. The reason why we're doing this is because again, that Wolfcut, that quintessential, like almost mullet, almost shag haircut, typically has that S, that bobble. So what we're gonna be doing. You're already starting to see that little bobble effect that we have going on. But at this point, you might not even need, depending on how dense your client's hair is, you might not even need to go and do the top, but I kind of want to just because I want to see how it looks. I think it's going to be cool. So now that we can get to the sides are a bit of a different story. So what you're going to be doing for those, instead of trying to make that like outward C shape, we're going to be making C's in the opposite direction, going this way, towards the back. So, out, do that, right there. Do it one more time. We can just basically start doing that as though it was a curtain fringe. Now, obviously, the more hair you have to do it, the bigger the effect, the better the effect is going to get. Bigger, better, basically the same thing. But essentially, right, you start to get something kind of like this, right? You take this little dude right here, and then just keep doing little sections, just like this. Essentially, we have that come through. So we'll just work like this way. So we'll do the fringe now. First get that shape in there, make a super extreme C. And then as you come down, it gets more and more and more like that. You can just position it, go there. And then you might, depending on it, on just how on the fly you are, you might just change it to look however you want. Now, we can do the same thing on this side. And we'll just go and we'll just pull. Get all of it in. And I have my straightener on 360 because this hair is virgin. If you were to do this on colored hair, I would recommend that you do it on 290 and just take really, really, really small sections. That's cool. Because with color molecules, basically just detaching at above 300, there's no point. But we've done kind of two separate ways of doing it one time. One side one way, one side the other way. But I'm just doing PC stuff right now at this point. You could even just really, really, really mess it up. Go do that. Or another way that we could do, I don't know if we wanted to really create that silhouette, because right now we have it really opening the face, right? We can go in. We can have this be just a little bit more in the face as well. And obviously, the more texturizing you do, the thinner we'll get. But you can even try to do this in like a little French bob kind of way, which I think we might do on one side just to show you guys the difference. But it's kind of that. And then you can just take the rest of this. And at this point, you can just honestly do as much or as little texture as you want. Creating little C's at the end of it. We'll get it to flip back. And you know what? I kind of like it more open in the face. You start to do that kind of slip back, you can really get it to be that PC texture. But this is just grabbing, I don't want to say random pieces, but this is just grabbing, you know, pieces and just going and making it work. Just set it, go through, try to not hit that back guy that you just did, but if it's unavoidable, it's unavoidable. You do what you can. You do what you can. The reason why I'm going through this so much is because I just wanted to. Okay, cool. And the way you can't go about this, make it easy for yourself, guys. It's not that deep, difficult, whatever. But which side do you like? I kind of like this one, you know? So what we'll do is we'll regulate. But yeah, no. You can even take this guy. Obviously this guy is still curled. But if you wanted to take a little bit of your side and just have it pop out ever so slightly, that could be something kind of cool, kind of funky. We're just going to kind of undo a little bit of what we just did. And then we're going to go through, take a diagonal back section. Because right now what we're doing is we're just thinning it out. And the reason why I'm not doing weird, funky, slide cutty stuff, at least going like this way, for me it's just personal preference. And then we're going to take this, and I'm going to show you like kind of an alternate way on how to go through for the front. But we're going to take a little bit more of you, and we're going to do this kind of, yeah, there we go, that's what I wanted to see. Cool. So when we do this, right, his hair wants to curl up, just like that. So what we're going to do is now we're going to come under here. And for those of you that do a lot of French bobs, you kind of get what I'm getting at. We'll take our straightener, just come down. We'll just straighten towards the face. Not necessarily into, just towards. And then we'll keep on doing that. Now it starts to look more edgy as I move the doll home. But now you kind of start to see that it's shaping the face. So when we put it up with this, and we can have it in that little C that we like to do. And we can just take you, go through, forward. We'll just make sure that that all looks there, and I'll explain in styling. Now we can go in, start to make little dainty points. We can start to remove all that weight, everything. And then we're going to come back for you.
Yeah, let's do that a little bit.
Let's kind of come back. Let's do that. So now we have two ways of doing it. We have it going at our crown. Let's check that perimeter really fast. Okay, so now looks cool, looks good. What are we gonna do now? We can just get into styling. Or finishing, I guess we could call it. So what I have with me right here, I have Kevin with his powder puff that we're gonna throw. We're gonna take just a finger section, throw a little bit on the root, pull it down with our finger, because this stuff, in my opinion, looks a little bit better when it's done with your fingers instead of with a comb. Because when it's done with a comb, it looks cleaner, and that's not what we're trying to accomplish here. We're trying to accomplish a more messy, undone look. So I'm just using Kevin Murphy's Freehold right now. I'm emulsifying it. And then what we're doing is we're just, something I learned in school too, is just to take little fingies, just create little spikes with them. If you twist, get some on your fingers, take some, twist it. Creates little spikes, creates a little dimension. Creates differentiation between that, and then we can run our fingers through it. And at this point, I'm just playing around. I'm just playing around and seeing what I can make it do to make it look a little bit nicer. But if her fringe wanted to cooperate, we would have it be going like that. But you have your two sides as to how you can style it. Obviously the fringe is looking gnarly, but that's okay. So now I can go on the other side. You can still take your freehold. Just really get it in there. You don't have to use powder. You can if you want to. But again, you don't have to. And what we're going to do is we're going to come back. And then we can also use our little new tactic as well. To create all those pieces. But now we have all this texture. Now we have all this pieciness. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just literally following it up on my fist. And then creating little, basically I'm just cupping it to get the volume. I'm toning it back down a little bit. So that way we can have like the best of both worlds. The volume and the texture. But cool. You have two ways to do Wolfcut. You can obviously go through, do a little bit more texture, but I think for now you get the general idea of how to go through and do it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you taking the time.